Well, hello, fellow traveler. Fancy meeting you here. Let's just dive into the energy and see what comes on through. We're going to tap in with a little ARCANE BS and take a walk on the weird side for a while. Escape some of this mundane inertia that seems to be mired in a lot of stuff that I really don't want to tap into. So I'm going to try to pan out a little further and wander off into the alfalfa and see what we can find to pull through for the collective here. So let's just see what is the message that wants to come through today for those of us who are trying to rise above the fray of all the madness going on in the world today. What do we need to know at this time to transmute all this BS, man, and get beyond it? What do we need to know at this time? Let's see what's on deck. I can't make any promises, man. I don't know what's going to come through, but I'm doing my best to take a little dip into a sea of absurdity to see if we can get something that makes a little bit more sense than what we're seeing going down in this clown world we're all living in here. So let's see what the message is. What is the message for the collective here? What is the message for the collective here? Well, we got the Queen of Holes. Interesting. Now, she came in with that effing guy. So maybe we need to dive into her. Oh, yeah, look, he's right behind her. He's right behind her. All right. Okay, I got the memo. Perhaps we need to dive into the mythos of the Queen of Holes. We need to learn a little bit about her. Let's dive into her character arc. Let's see what the Queen of Holes is all about. What is going on with this Queen of Holes? She also carries a big stick, and she's also got a door of opportunity there. She's peered into some kind of mystery. That's pretty wild how they came out together again. Perhaps now there's about to be the entry of that effing guy into the Queen of Holes' life. We know that he was considering taking in action in her direction, but before we were really hearing things from his side of the story. Maybe it's time to bring in her view. So I guess that's what we're doing here. All right, let us know what's going on with this Queen of Holes. Where's she at? What's going on with her? We see she's got a door left a little bit open here, a little ajar. I feel that's because she doesn't really want to shut a particular door with that effing guy. She's hoping maybe, even with all that this situation with that effing guy has taken out of her, that there could be something more to see than what she's seen so far. I mean, I think she does feel that she's seen beyond a certain facade in relation to him. She's gotten to the deeper heart of the matter. But at the same time, there's still something here that she feels like maybe she hasn't seen, or she needs to get a different perspective on. She may have been a bit vengeful toward that effing guy at one point, and now she's recognized in going to battle with him or being at odds with him in some way. It's sort of put her in a position where she's been losing a position of power. She doesn't have as much ground as she used to have. She's sort of backslid a little bit here, I feel. Maybe that's why she's keeping the door open a bit. She's hoping to negotiate something here with that effing guy. I think that is so wild how they came out together. All right, let's see. What's coming in with this Queen of Holes? Tell us the backstory of this Queen of Holes, especially in relation to that effing guy, because we did dive into this last week. So here's a continuation story. She feels like that effing guy is under the sway of somebody who is giving the impression that they have their best interests at heart. Somebody who's acting as some guru or guide for them. that's actually sort of like the blind leading the blind. She feels like this particular character is actually robbing them blind, that there's something they're not recognizing, something they're not seeing. The way that this person is being guided by this person who's hitching a ride on what this effing guy has to offer actually has put him in a real vulnerable position. And she doesn't understand why that effing guy can't see what she sees. She feels like she's peered into a mystery, something that that effing guy is totally unaware of. Now, she may feel like she's got the moral high ground in this situation. She thinks that, you know, this guy has this particular character that's guiding him on some kind of pedestal, like views this person as somebody that's heaven sent or some kind of angel. And she's saying, look, let me crack that door open for you a little bit and I'll show you what's really on the other side. This person's not so holy as you think they are. They have a lot of secrets that they're hiding from you. And maybe they're even taking a cut of the pie that you're not aware of. Like there is some impression here that this Queen of Holes feels that effing guy is being used by somebody, taken advantage of by somebody that's guiding them. And I think they've been watching this. They've been watching the moves that that effing guy has been taking here. And they feel a lot of sorrow around this because they see the chaos that it's weaved into their reality. They feel it's brought a lot of deception. Now, this may be somebody, this Queen of Holes, who sort of views themselves as an Eve character. And they may view the one that has been guiding that effing guy as more of a Lilith type, you could say. They feel like they might come off like they have all the answers, but they sense that there's some kind of deception, that there's some way that this, I got to figure out, and maybe we'll just call her Lilith just for the sake of making it convenient, okay? This Queen of Holes feels that this Lilith character has really duped that effing guy into thinking there's some kind of angelic guide, some kind of wise, caring, benevolent force in their life that's guiding them in the right direction. And they actually feel that this person is a snake in the grass and that they should just flush this person out of their life because they're leading them in the wrong direction. And they want this person to put their head on straight. Like they feel like this person's lost the agency of their own independent thought, that they're turning to this other person to get guidance, to get answers, to get the directions for the next step to take in their life. And she really feels that they're losing the plot here, that they've lost their own vision for the path ahead. And she's seen the way it's really divided that effing guy. He can't make up his mind. He no longer knows what his heart really wants. He's just trusting somebody else's vision here. She feels that that effing guy is being led forward by a deceiver, a snake in the grass, and that he should transform this situation and release it so he can get back to being the king that she's always known that effing guy to be. And something good can still be preserved out of what's become an infinite cosmic mess in this situation. And I think she feels really determined about this to try to get her point across. She could be a Capricorn. It's possible. She's very resilient in her position. She does have a lot of strength here. And she's not going to give up until she gets her point across to that effing guy. It seems like they're on two different pages in relation to an action that that effing guy wants to take. She's still leaving a door cracked open for hope that she can get through to him. But she's also feeling like she's been hung up here for quite a while. And meanwhile, she feels like somebody else has a target on her happiness. So she might be trying to bring about the transformation herself. She doesn't want to be played for a fool. She doesn't want to sit here hanging out, hoping for that effing guy to get a clue and take the appropriate action, which in her mind is him playing the hand she wants him to play. So it's kind of ironic if you think about it, because she feels like somebody else is guiding that effing guy astray. She's not in agreement with the action he wants to take in relation to somebody in particular, somebody that she feels is a deceiver, is not as angelic as she appears to be, is not as heaven sent as she appears to be. And she's hoping to prove it. She feels like she's actually been put in a negative position, cast in a role where she's expected to sort of be put on ice and just hang out here while she watches what was supposed to be her happiness being taken from her hands by this deceiver. And I think she's not willing to just sort of watch this go down anymore. I feel like she's going to bring about some kind of action here to try to throw a wrench in the works. She might actually be brewing up a little chaos herself. She might be planning to brew up a little chaos herself, which is kind of funny if you think about it, because, you know, there's something here that's not seen about this Queen of Holes. I think she has a secret life. She's a little bit of a shapeshifter here. She does have her eyes on a particular prize, and she is willing to go upstream to get it. She's willing to do whatever she has to do, go against the grain in order to achieve her objective. She wants the sweetness of the bloom. I think she really fancies that effing guy. That's what I think. She really fancies him, but she feels like he's about to make an investment in a different direction towards somebody that he feels is heaven sent. She may have recently been sort of X'd out of the picture. He may have cut something off with her or wanted to slow things down with her. So they may have had some involvement with each other romantically. But she doesn't want to be played for a fool here. So I think she's planning on taking some kind of action to transform her position. Oh, yes. And she really wants to defend her spot here. She's not willing to give up her spot. So I think she feels like there's like this temptress that's come in onto the scene that's presenting themselves like they're very sweet and they're a little bit of a goody two shoes, that they're heaven sent, that there's some kind of guy, that maybe they're an earth angel and they have all the answers, and they feel like this person needs to be given the flesh. Needs to be given the flesh. I feel because they think they're in direct opposition to what they want to achieve with this effing guy. But we see here that there's a little something tricky with this character here. So it looks like there's sort of a battle in relation to how she's being seen as opposed to the object of that effing guy's affection, that it's somebody he wants to head toward. It looks like he's actually feeling some sense of remorse for not taking an action in a particular direction. Maybe because he was listening to the Queen of Holes. She promised him that she knew what was best for him. Maybe he feels like she got him hung up, and because of her, he lost an opportunity. And yet she's very convinced that she knows the truth in this situation and that she is his happiness. So this is where she's not in agreement with that effing guy's choices because it doesn't lead him to her. That's what I feel this is. And I think she's really going to try to defend her spot. Yeah, because she feels like he's a feral nerd right now. Something else has captured his attention. Somebody else has captured his attention. And she feels like she's the one who's heaven sent. And this particular character that he's being drawn to is the one that's going to take him straight to hell. And yet he's gotten beyond his fears here with the feral nerd, because there's something that's activated in that effing guy that is making him too curious. He feels like he has to explore the path that he didn't travel down I feel that's what it is. It's like he wants to see for himself what would happen if he opened up that road and actually entered into the exploration of what could be if he gave this an opportunity. So she knows where she was able to kind of hold him back for a while through cautioning him, through getting all kinds of arguments why that was not a smart direction to head in, why he should wait, why he should delay. He's starting to recognize that maybe he's losing out on something, and he's at the point where the cautions aren't working anymore. It's like he wants to move beyond his fear. And it's almost like he's becoming a bit daring. Like she may have told him, you go in that direction, man, you're going to step in some shit. And he's like, I don't care. I don't care. That's what I feel this is. I don't care. Because it's the path that's less traveled. And I haven't gone down there. But I've walked through this door with you many times, Queen of Holes, and I know where it leads every time. And so I'm not going to wait any longer. So I think that's who this Queen of Holes is. Maybe she doesn't see everything as clearly as she thinks she does. Maybe she's sort of martyring herself in this situation, has been martyring herself, holding herself up, trying to achieve happiness where it might be misaligned, okay? That's kind of what I'm seeing here. She might be really wasting her time, wasting her energy, trying to hold that effing guy back from taking this action he wants to take. I mean, I would say just let him roam free, you know? Yeah, I mean, if it's going to be an infinite cosmic mess, let it be an infinite cosmic mess. But this is a situation where three's a crowd. There's three forces here. They're colliding at the crossroads, and that's what's making things messy. I do see there are two hearts here, so there is love here. But there's somebody who's inserted themselves into the mix, saying that they're the ones who have the vision for the choice that effing guy needs to make. And to me, if that Queen of Holes feels they have all the answers and they know what's what, well then let them be a feral nerd, man. Let them go and explore. Let them face their fears. And if you feel like they're going to get tricked by traveling down some rabbit hole that takes them on a wild ride to Wonderland and they lose themselves and maybe their head for a bit in the process, well, maybe that's what's needed. If you're right, Queen of Holes. But I don't know if the Queen of Holes necessarily has such a clear view. And maybe some of her theories and some of her ideas that she thought were rock solid and that she thought were aligned with some kind of higher divine truth isn't truth at all. There may be certain things that she does not see. She may not have all the answers here. But there's definitely some complication that's caused here because there's too many cooks in the kitchen here. That's what I see. Too many cooks in the kitchen is spoiling the pot in this scenario with this Queen of Holes. There also may be something about different sets of spiritual belief here too that's causing a clashing of wills in a situation. Somebody may not be able to embrace the freedom that others should have to be able to follow the directive of their spirit. I feel like this Queen of Holes is more of a traditionalist. She may have a very conservative sort of viewpoint. She may be a bit holier than thou. And she may be mistaking somebody for being a negative influence when actually they're more aligned with what that effing guy needs. I mean, I do feel like he's really determined to get where he wants to go. Like, he's not going to give this up. This is something that he's been gnawing on for a while now, I feel, to the point where he's got lockjaw on it. It's like until he lays the bones of the past to rest, and really goes and explores this route, he's not going to be able to let anything go. I think he feels like he's got to head down the road less traveled, and he's determined to do it. He's not going to give something up. I do feel like he's about to take an action here, coming in with the energy of 333. So this is something that has been holding him up at the South Node for a while. And he feels that until he pursues this and follows through with this and opens this road and see what he finds there for himself, that he's not able to move beyond something that's really held him back for a long time. That's what I feel. I also feel with 333 coming in here that he does have some kind of assistance that's supporting him in this objective. And that assistance is of a spiritual nature. He's being guided by his own soul's directive, but it's almost like somebody's getting in the way of a person's soul directive by inserting themselves in a choice that's not theirs to make. And it kind of goes back to this piece of let somebody find out for themselves. I feel like she's cautioning this individual. I feel like the Queen of Holes feels if this effing guy that we now know from his perspective, he's the effing guy, okay? I'll call the shots here. You don't get to call the shots for me, Queen of Holes. I think she's been telling him, if you go in that direction, it's going to be an embarrassment for you. Wait until the community sees what you're doing. Wait until your family finds out what you're doing. Wait until your friends hear about this. It's like she's trying to hold some kind of embarrassment over his head. Or she might even be threatening to reveal. She might be threatening to reveal something that could be potentially exposing or embarrassing to the effing guy if he moves in the direction of who he feels is heaven sent. Or it doesn't even have to be that he feels like this is somebody that is his match, but it does seem like there's some kind of soul directive around him moving in this direction. Like he feels there's something that he needs to explore here or follow through here with this character, Lilith. Let's just call her Lilith. And he needs to. I feel like he needs to as part of his healing process. Like he can't put a certain pain behind him or a difficult time in his life until he walks through that door. Despite, however, this Queen of Holes is cautioning him. And this is actually what liberates him. And he is following the directive of his spirit. He's been charged with this. But she's trying to hold it back. She may even be intimate with that effing guy. She may be somebody that, you know, he's had some dalliances with. Maybe she's always wanted it to go a step further. Maybe that's something she never revealed to him. She tried to like play the role of, oh, you know, I'm cool, you know, with keeping it casual. And maybe that's not the case. Maybe she feels like that effing guy has Lilith on a pedestal. And she feels like she's the one that should be put in that position. I'm the prize. I'm the door of opportunity you should be walking through. If you head in that direction, you're going straight to hell. I mean, that's what I feel. I feel like there's a lot of judgment coming from the Queen of Holes around the effing guy's choice to move in this direction. And we're going to call him the effing guy, okay? Because he already got to speak for himself. So I do want him to be able to have the piece that he brought in remain intact. Because we're looking through her perspective, her lens right here. I think as much as she feels like she understands who the effing guy is, he's not that effing guy. There's a whole part of him that she's never peered into. And that's what I think this is. She's missing a piece of this puzzle. She doesn't know everything about him. And there may be a side of him that Lilith has seen into that she's never had access to. There may be something about Lilith here that's taken the effing guy deeper within himself than he's ever gone before. And there's also something here that he can't resolve within himself until he takes an action in this direction. I think it's unsettling for the Queen of Holes because she feels like she doesn't know who that effing guy is anymore. He's acting out of character. It's throwing her off. It's a mystery to her why he's heading in this direction. And she just wishes that he would cut this off. But in her pursuit of having rulership over the effing guy's actions, she's actually become a bit too clingy here. And if she's right, okay, I'm going to cater to the Queen of Holes for a moment here. If you're right, then let him learn this on his own. Let him learn this on his own. You have to give somebody the freedom to explore their path in life. You can't hold back somebody's creative inspiration. You can't hold back somebody's soul directive, especially when it looks like he needs to head in this direction in order to put some kind of pain behind him. Make it make sense. That doesn't make sense. And if you're so secure that you are the prize, well then let him discover that for himself. To me, this feels like a losing battle. I feel like that effing guy is already too lit. Like his mind is made up. He's facing his fear. He's already heading in this direction. But I think she might try to interfere. She might try to head him off at the pass and make a real mess of this situation before it even has a chance to come to a place of fruition. But what's really clear here is there's only 2 hearts in this mix. There's not 3 hearts here. There's 2. There's 2. So one of these things is not like the other one. And let the effing guy figure that out for himself. I mean, that's what I would say to the Queen of Holes here. But I do feel like she's about to intervene in some way. How is the Queen of Holes about to intervene in this situation? It's like she wants to try to make a mess of something before it has a chance to come together. Oh, yeah. Her instincts are off, man. They are. They're off. Whatever she's planning on doing, it's not going to work out the way she thinks it will. See, she's trying to say that this Lilith, that the effing guy wants to head toward, is a deceiver. They're going to lead them down a garden path. You're going to lose your true love here. But I thought you were comfortable just being a dalliance, but maybe you're not. You want something more. And maybe that's what's making things so messy isn't that deceptive? To not be truthful about what you really desired from the effing guy? Okay? So there's something here where, ooh, and now here's the barging in of Mr. Ted. One moment. Come on in, Ted. Come on in. Come on in. You see, that's the dynamic. She wants to barge her way into a situation because she thinks she's already got the memo about this Lilith that the effing guy wants to head toward. But she doesn't. Her instincts are off. She's not reading the energy correctly. Whatever action she's considering taking here, it will make a big mess. But I think where there will be more exposure or some kind of community embarrassment, it will be more on her part if she takes this action to try to head this off at the pass. It's really going to reveal something about her more so than it will cause any kind of division between these two that feel like they need to come together. You know, they need to come together to resolve. It looks like to resolve something, to put some pain behind them. Maybe even to experience some kind of liberation from the past. So, you know, who knows why that effing guy feels like heading toward Lilith. It could be there's something he really needs to heal here. Maybe because he's been carrying around pain for a long time and he doesn't want to hold the pain anymore. And maybe he can't be free of that pain until he just discovers certain truths for himself by having a communication, a meetup, an interaction with Lilith here. And they sort through something together that has nothing to do with the Queen of Holes. But she's about to take a risk here that she thinks it's the right thing to do. She does feel very self-righteous about this action. She feels like she's acting in the best interest of that effing guy. But that's the problem. She sees him as that effing guy. Like he doesn't have a clue. He doesn't know what he's doing. She has more spiritual authority over his path than he does on his own. And she's actually in error. She's totally off here. Her instincts are off. She's made an incorrect judgment call here. And I feel like the only one who's going to be put in an embarrassing position is going to be her. Now, she may get desperate, and maybe this is the risk she wants to take. Maybe there was something about their involvement that was hidden, that was clandestine behind the scenes. Maybe she was more of a secret dalliance. And perhaps there's a reason why the effing guy doesn't want Lilith to know about this. So she may try to sort of strong arm in the situation and say, well, if you head in that direction, I'm going to let Lilith know what you've been up to with me, to kind of sabotage this. But that seems very strange to me because I don't think that will earn her any favor. In fact, it may come off as more of an act of desperation. So I don't think that that's going to be a wise course of action. Give me some more details about this Queen of Holes and this intervention she's considering. I don't know. Is she considering an intervention? Like trying to pull in other family members, other friends, to make it appear like the effing guy is off his rocker, like he needs help, he needs an intervention. She might, oh my goodness. Yes, we need to pray for him, please. Please, we need to get the family together. We need to intervene here. He's going to take an action that's going to lead him down a real dark path here. Oh my gosh. She's really laying it on thick, but yeah, there's a lot of manipulation going on here, whatever this is. Oh, look, man, this isn't the first time she's pulled this. I do feel like she doesn't recognize the way that her kind of trying to put on this front that she's like holier than thou and she knows what's best. And we're the true spiritual partnership here. There's something here where she actually more exposes herself. I feel like this isn't the first time she's done this. This isn't the first time she's wedged herself in between the effing guy and an object of his desire or his own independent agency and what he felt called to do. And it's because she's had some kind of compromising arrangement with him. Again, I do feel like maybe there was something that could be like a little compromising here that happened behind the scenes between the Queen of Holes and the effing guy. but I feel like he's wanting to free himself from a particular cycle. It's like, been there, done that. I don't want to do this anymore. He might be willing to like hedge his bets, actually, and she may not anticipate that. Where he's like, go ahead, call it out, you know? If that's what it takes for the truth to come up and out. I don't really feel like the effing guy is the type of character. I mean, from what we gathered, the last time we dropped into his energy and let him have a say, I'll go ahead and put the card for that read at the tail end of this one. So you can go back to that to sort of see the basis of the matter here. And we can go back in the lore and see how this story is come to be and all the different characters involved here. But I feel like he's sort of in this place where he's like, because what I see about the effing guy here is he's already naked. You know, he already feels like he's exposed. And I think he understands that there's vulnerability in him heading in this direction, that maybe there is a lot of stuff that will be exposed. And I think he's been gathering his strength to, you know, go through that fire, sit in that hot seat. He seems pretty determined to take an action. He may even feel like, yeah, okay, maybe I'll look like a little bit of a geek, you know? I'll look a little geeky for, you know, putting myself in this position, but I don't care. I don't care. You see, because something has been held off for too long. That's what I feel. And no matter how much time, space, distance, blockage has been in place in relation to him coming together with this Lilith character to sort something out, it hasn't been enough to hold the urge at bay. That's what I see. And he's really not wanting to go through another round of the same old shit. He's not. And there is a lot of interference here, but it feels like more of the interference is coming from other people that the effing guy has been intimately engaged with. And I think it's because of what kind of got put out there, you know? You know? The power that the effing guy has is that he's got a big stick. His kryptonite is that he's got a big stick. You know? It's a little bit complicated. It's a little bit complicated, right? So I think that this is kind of a dicey situation here for the Queen of Holes. And yet, you know, she has her own character arc to live out here. And there's something she feels really passionate about. So what I want to see here is, what is the Queen of Holes power here? Let's dive into that a little bit. I'm seeing her perspective here. What is her power here? Because she does seem like she's really determined. And it does seem like she has true caring. I think that in her mind, her heart is in the right place, right? That's why she's so determined to take an action. I do feel like she's been very giving to the effing guy. She's given a lot of herself. She feels like she's been really true to him. She's been by his side. She's been loyal to him for a long time. She feels like she's lost a lot. She's lost a lot sort of being loyal to him too. Putting up with his antics. You know, she's been through a lot here. She feels like her feelings should be taken more into consideration. I have a sense that she put more value in their connection than that effing guy did. You know, it's got a little bit of that, like her feelings got a bit carried away with her. And that's always difficult. So I don't necessarily think that she means harm, But what I am sensing here is a little bit of desperation that could actually compromise her. And I have to be honest here, it looks like she's already been compromised quite a bit, because I do feel like she's been taken advantage of in this situation. I think that the effing guy knows that she has a soft spot for him. And there may have even been times when he misled her a bit and was acting more out of that effing guy. But clearly he's gone through some kind of transformation here. There's something that's shifting in him. And that might be what's so problematic, because the old roles no longer fit in this situation. Something's in a state of transformation. And that's what's making this so messy, okay? Because there's a lot of feelings involved. There's a lot of different people involved in a situation. And unfortunately, that's what's making everything such a mess. Because I don't think this is a community issue. That's what it looks like to me. This is not a community issue, but it's becoming one. Because of how many people are wanting to include themselves in this storyline for some reason. It's interesting. What is the Queen of Holes power? Because we all have power. We all have power. We all have strengths. So I want to look at what the Queen of Holes power is in this situation. I mean, I feel like her power is that she is in a position where she's finally making her true feelings known. And maybe it's been held back for a long time. Maybe she was wearing a mask for a while. Maybe she was pretending that everything was okay for her, but she's going through her own changes here. And she's hoping to turn the wheel of fortune in her favor. She doesn't want to be viewed the way she was always viewed. She feels that she has more value than has been recognized by the effing guy. And, you know, that's fair. I do feel there's a lot she's learned here in the process. And for her, it is a bit of an ego death to take this stance, reveal her feelings in this way. Okay? And some may say that she's being greedy, that she's being controlling, but they don't understand how much she invested in this connection or how much she's been taken advantage of either. That's what I feel. So I feel that at least she's real about what she feels. Like she's taken the risk to unmask herself, you could say. She may have been keeping her feelings hidden about something, but I do feel like she's taken a stand and she's speaking her truth, and that takes a lot of guts. She's gone through some kind of ego death here, I think. And she's very vulnerable right now, right? So she's going through her own doorway of initiation. She's going through a bit of spiritual purification herself right now. And it is gaining her some wisdom. There is something she is gaining through this process. What she may not recognize is, even though this is an uncomfortable experience for her, to see the truth, it's helping her reclaim some power here, okay? She may be on the verge of facing a death, an ending in this situation, but it's the ending of an illusion. And with that, she's going to find she has true power in her hands. This is something that she doesn't see right now. This is something she'll discover in heading down a particular stretch of road on her own. I do feel like it's in her best interest to allow the effing guy to go where he wants to go, make the decisions he needs to make in relation to what his soul is calling him to do. And for her to intervene or trying to interrupt that process is only going to make this ego death more complicated, more painful, more messy, and potentially more embarrassing for her. She doesn't recognize that she's about to step into some kind of empowerment here. And it's not something she will see until she heads down a particular stretch of road alone. So there is something she's reclaiming here. She's about to go through a rebirth. But before the rebirth comes, there needs to be a death. There needs to be an ending. An ending of the way she previously saw a situation. Yeah. Yeah, she's got to let him be free, man. He's breaking the chains one way or another. I see it. She's got to let him be free. He's already made up his mind. He's already made up his mind, you see. It's like this is coming in sort of crossing. He's about to take an action. He's about to free his mind from the control of other people's ideas, other people's suggestions. He is going to act upon his own vision. He knows where he's at right now and where he needs to go. And there is something that's being cleansed here. I mean, one way or another, he's letting himself be free. He's not going to let another person direct his course. He's following his own directive here. He's just about to liberate himself. I do feel like he's been weighing something out for a while. But I also feel as he's been in this process, it's put the Queen of Holes in this position too. And she doesn't recognize the way that she's also being liberated here too. There's something she'll see much differently on the other side of the transformation. I mean, I think that her kryptonite is that if she keeps pushing this, she's actually going to burn a bridge. She's going to burn a bridge that once it's burned, there's no way to cross over it again. So there's something that really needs to be considered here. I think the Queen of Holes is used to getting her way. She's been getting her way for quite a while here. But if she continues to try to intervene or cut this off at the pass, it's really going to work against her. It's the thing that is going to be her undoing. So I think, she needs to recognize that she's about to come into a power that maybe she's never even held before. And she doesn't see that because it feels very destructive. It feels very messy. It feels very complicated. And yet the only way that she's going to really discover her true path of purpose and for the truth to emerge in this situation and true freedom to be found, an elevation, a perspective, is if she, lets this go. Lets this go. Because if she's right, and if he heads toward Lilith, and it leads him down a garden path of destruction, well, there's vindication there. There's vindication there. But if she tries to force her will and creates a big mess in this situation, there's no chance for redemption. I feel like this is going to cause a complete severance of any connection or sense of affinity, camaraderie, connection that they had. And once that's done, there's no getting it back. So I think that's something that needs to be strongly considered here. It's gnawing at her though. It's gnawing at her. She's having a hard time with it. I do feel like I feel for the Queen of Holes because I feel like there's a lot of vulnerability there. I think she just really needs something to pour in to her and nurture her for once. I feel like she spills out a lot of her energy on others and she's running on empty. But this ain't it. This ain't it. And she'll see that. She'll see that because there's like this path of wisdom that's opening up for her. And she's going to get her mojo back on the other side of releasing this. And if she's right, it's like I was saying, you know, there'll be vindication. If he ends up heading down a path of destruction, well, then she's vindicated. And she can't protect him from having that experience. We all need to have the freedom to make mistakes in our lives, you know, to fumble, to get it wrong, to blow it, to experience embarrassment, you know, to be caught with her pants down. You can't control somebody else's storyline. You got to give them the freedom to make their own choices. And she has a choice too. She has a choice too. Okay. And I think that's really what's going to come into view for the Queen of Holes, especially if she takes this action. Let me do a cut the deck here. I want to get some details on this. I mean, I think she's in survival mode right now. She does not want to be relegated to just being some side piece here. That's what I feel. That's what I feel. And so she's going to sound her own judgment call. And she's very focused here on her target. She's not going to let this slide. I do feel like she's going to take an action. She feels like she's going to be able to successfully take down Lilith here. That's what I feel. But the thing about Lilith, and it's interesting that I chose to call her Lilith, okay? Lilith may be exiled. Lilith may have been judged. Lilith may have been demonized. But Lilith does transform. Lilith does transform. She does rise. She is reborn. She does move into her exaltation. And so there's a bit of the storyline in relation to Lilith that this Queen of Holes has no insight into, does not understand the road that Lilith's been down. Lilith's already integrated her shadow. She does have her wings, you know. There's something she's transformed, that she's risen above. And I feel like there's a piece of that puzzle that does involve the effing guy. And he's now become vulnerable enough to understand this himself. That there's a piece of the puzzle there that does need to fall into place for his own healing to be complete, you know? And this Queen of Holes is about to go on a journey of power to recover the missing pieces that make up who she is too. But we find that on our own, you know? We find that on our own. And I feel like this is a case of like three fates that have been intertwined. And it's a bit messy sorting it out. But each individual has had to go down their own path of empowerment here. They're just at different stages of this journey. And right now it's the phase of the journey where the effing guy feels like he needs to catch up with Lilith here to make something right, to put some kind of pain or regret behind him. And getting in the way is only going to cut off potential for healing, integration, understanding to come in the connection between the Queen of Holes and the effing guy down the road. So, I mean, letting go is the answer, but I see she's really determined here. Ooh, man. She may be preparing to put on some kind of disguise. She may be preparing to intervene, maybe to cut off the effing guy at the pass through some kind of ruse. She might be trying to reach out to Lilith under disguise. She might be catfishing Lilith. She might try to send Lilith a message, maybe even posing as the effing guy. Ooh, before he ever gets a chance to have his piece, have his say. I mean, if she cares so much for the effing guy, doesn't she understand how much that injures him, wounds him? I think that's what's about to go down here. She's going to try to head this off at the pass by reaching out to Lilith under the guise that she's the effing guy. She may even have other people in on this with her. I'm going to get around here, one round of the Shadow Light playing cards to get some details on this. Is that what's about to go down here? Is the Queen of Holes about to catfish Lilith, pretending like she's the effing guy, to cut this off at the pass so that when the effing guy does try to reach out to Lilith, she automatically shuts him down? Oh my goodness, here. Also, she might be spilling some secrets. There is something that's been compromised here. I do feel like the effing guy was that effing guy for a while, okay? And there is something compromising here. I mean, in their dalliances, she may have quite literally pumped that effing guy for information. There may have been some pillow talk where he spilled some secrets about Lilith that now the Queen of Holes has access to. So maybe she does know some secret stuff that she shouldn't know about Lilith. Maybe that's the mystery that she's peered into. And that's how she will be able to maybe convince Lilith. That may be how she's able to convince Lilith that she's the effing guy. Because she has certain knowledge of things, maybe intimate things between them that she shouldn't know about. I think she's going to use that to her advantage to try to make a mess of this situation before it even has a chance to come together. That's what this is. That's what this is. Well, that effing guy never should have done that. I mean, that's dirty pool right there. Shouldn't have been sharing intimate details, things that should have been held as sacred between him and Lilith. Like, that ain't right. All right. So she may even feel justified in that because she feels that it's really weird. Because it's like she feels like that's wrong of him to do, and yet she feels like she wants to use that against him to try to secure a position with him that he doesn't want with her. It's really weird. What a convoluted situation, man. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it's weird because as I'm seeing, as I laid these down, this is how it's coming out. Her plan to do this will be the annihilation of something. The annihilation of something. What? We don't know yet. And that's the problem. It's like, once you pull that trigger, once you take that action, there's no taking it back. And you may not know what you're annihilating here. You may think that you're creating a problem for Lilith or creating a problem for that effing guy that runs him back to you. And actually, it may be the thing that burns a bridge between you and him permanently. Queen of Holes, you need to consider this more strongly, all right? What a mess, man. That is an infinite cosmic mess. Okay, let me dive into this. Tell me about this. What is this? What is this? Oh, yeah, well, there is something at play here, and it is coming in the light, all right? So there's a little bit of divine justice rolling out here. You know, it's like somebody thinks they're being really tricky here, but actually it's all part of the plan. And that's often the way it goes when we're learning these difficult lessons in life and where things get complicated. It's often the ways we think that we're mastering a situation or we're being really tricky that are actually the very things that trip us up. And does so. So we learn a little bit of a lesson here. It is the lesson of the trickster. You know, we think we got something on lock. We got it all under control. I got the perfect plot. You know, I know how to get in the position of power in this situation, and then it's the very thing that gets us caught up and teaches us what we need to see in this situation that we haven't seen before. So it's like, yeah, you know, it's sort of like Spirit saying, yeah, go ahead, go for it. It's like you're playing right into Spirit's hands. Yeah, you take that action, Queen of Pulls. It's not going to work out in your favor. It isn't going to work out in your favor. It's going to work against you. But ultimately it works in your favor because it teaches you lesson. And you come to understand what true power is. Yeah, there will be no moving forward with this plan. It will head south. It will head south because this action is out of alignment. It's out of alignment. It's a misuse of power. And I do feel like there's something that will be rectified here. There's nothing but loss here. Look, King of Diamonds, King of Hearts in the shadow here. Blocked. It'll actually really turn him against her. So that effing guy could have strong water, strong earth in his chart. He could be somebody who is pretty well off financially. I also feel like if she does this, he'll be very quick to cut her off in more ways than one. So she may benefit from their arrangement in some way financially. I feel like that'll be cut off. I also feel like it'll be no love lost. Like he will definitely block her because he's determined that he's going to go down this road. He's very determined that this is what he needs to do. He's invested in heading in this direction, and all she'll do is stir up ire in this effing guy. So strong fire, water, earth in the effing guy's chart, I feel. He'll take a real strong action against her, something that maybe could rock her stability. She'll definitely be left out of the cold, and he'll block her. He may take some kind of action to block her, absolutely. It'll be a disappointment for her. If she crosses that bridge, she will regret it. It's not the right way for her to invest her energy at all. There's something very karmic attached to that. It's a blind spot. It's a blind spot. It'll cause some disappointment for her. He'll no longer be willing to work with her. He'll no longer be willing to support her in some way. Okay? He may cut something off cold. Some kind of support that he's been giving her. Some kind of assistance. Some kind of backing. I mean, I do feel like they've had a friendly association. There is a connection there. But this will make him go completely cold. And actually, I see him more going on the attack toward her if she takes this action. It will not turn out the way she thinks it will. She has a definite blind spot around this. It's coming out with the energy of 12, the 12th house. So, and then right after that came out the 10. Okay, so this is something that's concealed. There's something she doesn't see. But if she tries to work this angle, it will be revealed to her, and it's not the outcome she was hoping for. It'll be very disillusioning. So again, I'm going to say, the best course of action for I'm calling her the Queen of Pulls now, is to let the effing guy do what he's going to do. Let him move forward. And if you think it's an error in judgment, let him learn that lesson on his own. Because I do think that there's some way that she is tangibly supported by the effing guy. Some way that he backs her, you know, some way that he represents her, some way that, you know, he's given her support too. Maybe not the kind of support she's wanted, but she has had his backing, and this will turn him against her. And I feel like this is not somebody you want on your bad side. It will turn out disastrous. I really feel that. One more around here just to cap this off. One more round here to cap this off with the Queen of Bowls. Look, put a fork in it, man. It's done. You gotta lay this to rest. This is your opportunity to just let the Wheel of Fortune turn. Let him take this action. Let him discover for himself. But what she doesn't see is that it actually works out for him. It does. It brings him the fulfillment he's been needing all along. For him, it closes out a karmic cycle, something that's been needed to be completed for a long time. And it puts him in his position of inner authority here. So, you know, it may not be what she wanted. It's not the outcome she desired. Judgment. But there really is no choice but to let go. And I do feel like what has been divided here is being reunited. This is happening. One cycle is coming to a close, and something is coming to fruition that has been held back for a long time. And it's about time. It looks like it, because it looks like this revolves around putting some really painful stuff in the archives of the past. I don't think the Queen of Holes really understands that it serves that purpose for her too. Yeah. There is something that's going down online. There's something that there's a lot of visibility around. So I do think where there's any harebrained schemes, you know, to bring an end to something and maybe try to publicly embarrass somebody. Oh, no. No, no, no. It will backfire against the Queen of Holes. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. I do want to bring in something to kind of like lift up the Queen of Holes here. I'm going to bring in a Goddess Guidance card for the Queen of Holes just to help lift up her energy a bit, because I feel for the Queen of Holes. I see that she's been through a lot here. I do. And I do see that she is brave, you know. She is revealing how she feels about something. She needs some cleansing. It would do her good to spend some time near a body of water and just allow herself to release her emotions around what she's feeling. Get grounded a bit. Allow the current to just carry away her sorrows from her. Get a little reflection. Okay. There's something that needs to be purified here, but being near bodies of water can be very centering and offer a point of reflection. She may have strong water in her chart too, water, fire. Okay. There's something about connecting with your water is what's going to temper you at this time. So I feel like dive more into your waters, dive more into the vulnerability, Queen of Holes. Allow yourself to feel the loss. Allow yourself to feel everything you're feeling around letting go of trying to control this, and let it be what it needs to be. And if something is meant for you, it can never be taken from you. And if that is something that's meant to happen, you know, if there's meant to be some recognition of who you are in the effing guy's life, you gotta let him go through this process. What if he needs to meet with Lilith to experience some kind of closure, some kind of healing, and then he can come back to your connection and pour a different kind of energy into what you share with each other. You know what I mean? There needs to be more faith in the connection you share. If you do feel like you two are supposed to be united. So there's a lot here about allow this cleansing, this purification to happen. Let it go. Let it go. Because if you don't, and you try to pull a fast one here and, you know, create a real dramatic scenario where you think it's going to embarrass the effing guy, I feel like it's actually really embarrassing for you. And from what I see here, the Queen of Holes has already been through enough, man. This has already taken a lot out of you. And you're about to come into some power, wisdom, understanding here. Something you haven't held for a long time. Maybe you've never held it all. And this is a case of really trust the process here. Okay, there's something that you will see in letting this go and letting the effing guy make his own mind up about what's right for him as he opens up this next chapter in his life. Because it looks like he's been going through quite a process of discovery himself, right? I see he's been dealing with a lot of exposure, a lot of vulnerability. There's a lot that he's been moving through too, okay? It's like a deeply healing, complicated process. It reminds me of a book called The Melding, where it's like a complicated relationship between three, and there's something here that can only be moved through with great awareness to get to the other side of what has bound up three fortunes for too long and kept them in a real rough cycle of fate. And there needs to be this like disentanglement so these individuals can really come into their own power and the full recognition of their personal truth, their healing, before this situation can be rectified. I do feel like there's an explosiveness around it because feelings are very activated and there's a lot of deep wounds here that go a long ways back. But taking these kinds of subversive actions will really backfire. And Queen of Holes, I don't want to see you losing more than you've already lost to a particular situation, okay? You may not understand how releasing this is your road to redemption, and things might turn out quite differently than you anticipate. Okay, so Goddess guidance for the Queen of Holes, please. It comes in again. Look at that. So spend some time near water, such as a lake, river, or the ocean. You need to fill your cup. You need to recharge your batteries here. You need to get back into your water essence. You need to get back into emotional clarity. You need to get back into a place of clear vision. Really be able to acknowledge what you're feeling here and trust your intuition. Because, I mean, I see that this is coming to pass. Whoever these two are, the effing guy and Lilith, need to meet up here. Something needs to be sorted out between the two of them. It's necessary for there to be some kind of healing. And you never know. It could be that until that happens, there can't be healing between the effing guy and the Queen of Holes either. Okay, so it's like there's three fortunes intertwined here. And this is the rough hand of fate that needs to be sorted through. And it's complicated. It's like 52 pickup. That's what I got. There's a lot to sort out here. There's a lot of hands that have been played that have made more of a mess of something than it needed to be. Right, so let go. If you're so solid, you know, that you and the effing guy are meant to be, then rest on that. And act out of that place of exalted love that respects the freedom of somebody to make their own choices without trying to control their moods, without trying to understand every single choice they're going to make and things that maybe they don't want to share with you. You know, you got to let people have the freedom to choose a different path if that's what they want to do, right? If it's meant to work out between the two of you the way you envision, then it will be so, and nothing will interrupt that. But I feel like You'll absolutely sabotage it if you try to prevent the effing guy doing what he needs to do to get things right within him, okay? For some reason, meeting with Lilith at the crossroads is part of it. All right? Yes, okay? So, we got Oracura blossoming here. I see that you've recently let the mask fall away. You really put yourself in a position of vulnerability, expressing what you feel, maybe even making your intentions known. It's something that's been uncomfortable for you, but you got to be patient with yourself, okay? It's hard when you've been in this place where you've been very self-contained and you've held everything in for so long, and you put on a brave face and then you start to let down your guard, especially when you see that you're not getting the reception you thought you would get. But you're just getting started here. You're just getting started down your path of discovery, Queen of Holes. That's what you don't see. You need to be patient with yourself and this process, okay? Don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. I think that's what's most important. Don't give up on yourself. Because if you allow things to come to bloom in their own time, you'll wreckness. Yeah, don't wreck it. Your wreckness. Yeah, check yourself before you wreck yourself, okay? If you allow things to come to bloom in their own time, you'll recognize that the sweetness of the bloom didn't pass you by after all. It may just be different than what you currently envision, okay? Let me do a cut the deck just to give a little more support for the Queen of Holes, okay? I want to pour it into you, Queen of Holes, because I see you, man. I see you. And how many of us have been in this position before where we felt depleted, you know? And we've had to look at something we really didn't want to see. And it was painful. And we feel like it took everything out of us. And we thought for sure we were going to go through that door. And then we find out we're going through a different door. It's like, it's rough, man. So I want to pour a little bit into the Queen of Holes here, just to give them some support. Because it's not an easy process, man. Again, there's something here about really connecting with the water. What's acting up in you right now, the reason why this feels so supercharged for you, is this is directly tied to your Akashic records. With the whale medicine, we do have the record keeper here. So I do feel there's something coming through very strongly here about this has been a karmic loop. And these three fates have been intertwined for lifetimes. But something is getting resolved right here and now. It's like all those timelines are finally converging. And this is being resolved in the present. So it's bringing up a lot of activating stuff. And you may feel like you're losing something here, but you're not. There's an infinite supply here, Queen of Holes. An infinite supply. And where you've been feeling like you haven't been getting enough and nothing's been pouring into you, what you don't recognize is in letting this go, everything you need is going to be supplied for you. Not just for today, but for all of your tomorrows. Source will pour into you here. And yes, spend some time near the water. It'll be very healing for you. Very restorative for you, okay? Be strong, okay? Be strong. Really sit in your sovereignty. Recognize that you don't need to convince anybody your worth, right? You just need to be seated in it. Have strength here. You have the strength to overcome these challenges. And in fact, you're stronger than you think. And if you rest in that strength, it assures a happy outcome for you. and let Spirit show you what that outcome is. You may not recognize the way that you're actually limiting what you're meant to receive here because you're trying to direct the flow too much. So water keeps coming through. This is really about you embracing the flow. Allow yourself to be in this vulnerability. Be patient with the process. It does require strength to let something go, and maybe to take a seat in that strength alone and let the truth be revealed to you. Whatever rolls out here, it's bringing you happiness. And it's interesting because the deck split again on its own. So I'm going to go ahead and look at this too. Yeah. White Tara, you're very sensitive right now. And that's okay. It's because you're really getting to the heart of matters. You're really allowing yourself to feel the depth of this experience that you've been moving through. So create this space for that. A space where it can really be held in a respectful way. Go connect with the water, connect with the earth, nurture yourself. Don't act out of a place of being reactive, because it will be ultimately destructive. You're becoming increasingly sensitive at this time, so it's in your best interest to avoid harsh relationships, environments, situations, even chemicals, okay? So again, this message of detoxing coming through, purification coming through, and create a respectful space for yourself. So maybe lay down some boundary lines and allow yourself to just pull back here. Pull back. Don't enter into the fray of it. You're going to need it, okay? You're going to need to have that space held around you through this process. But what you'll see is that you're actually coming into your independent strength and empowerment here with Bast. This is your strength. Your independence is a foundation for your strength and your future success. So again, let it go. Let it flow. You do not recognize that you're actually stepping into your power here to let the effing guy do what he needs to do. And then you'll see your true fortune, your destiny come into view. I wish you every success in that. You got what it takes. You do. Godspeed.